In 30 minutes, here's how to make this stunning modern interior using Blender 3.5. Drop a like and subscribe if you aren't already.
We're gonna actually keep our default cube. I know a lot of tutorials that you see, they straight away tell you to delete this, but we're gonna keep it. I'm gonna show this default cube some love. Alright, so what we're gonna do is just change the dimensions of this so that it matches up with the room that we're going with. So what we can do now is basically just have your cube selected, hit N, that'll bring up the dimensions and stuff of this cube. We can change it to the size that we want. So I want to go with 6 meter by 5 and 3 meters in height, and then we can close that. So the next thing you want to do is just with your cube selected, hit 1 and come to the front view. And we want basically the bottom of the cube or our room to sit on the ground plane. So G is to grab, Z to move on the Z axis, hold on shift and then just move up. Holding down shift basically just gives you a more accurate movement. You just want to roughly put it where the ground is, scroll in just to see. You can see it's still on the ground, that's perfect. So the reason we wanted that is because when we add in our models, our furniture and stuff, generally they're going to be added and sit at the bottom here. So if we had the cube roughly like in the center, then our models would just be kind of just like floating in the air. So that's why we're doing that. Alright, so the next thing I want to do now is to just set up the camera. But first on the tab to go into edit mode, face select this face, X, and I want to delete this. And then now I want to just scroll in, and I want to just place the camera and just set up my camera to where I want the scene to be shot. So I think somewhere around here should be good. Okay, so I'm gonna hit Control Alt and 0. That'll snap the camera here. Then I can tab to come on edit mode, select the camera, come over to the camera icon down here, and then you can just move it just a little bit just to tweak it. Okay, so I want this camera to be a bit more back, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come on somewhere here and then Control Alt 0, and then I can always just select the camera again and then smooth down just a little bit here, and let's see. Okay, so G and Z, you can bring it down, and then you can pick it up just a little bit. So this is entirely up to you. You don't have to copy the exact angle that I'm going for. I just want this angle because of the scene, the specific scene that I want. So okay, so once this is done, what we're going to do next is just adding our materials for the floor, the plaster, and those kind of stuff. And then next we're going to work on the lighting. So select your cube again, come over here, and I've already got an add-on enabled that has pretty much everything here. All I gotta do is just search it up. But if you don't, you can always just download the there's free materials, free assets, free models online. There's a ton. So you can just download that and just import it into the scene and continue with me. So what I'm gonna do now is yeah, I just want to add in, let's search for
Like
plaster.
and subscribe.
Alright, so this is going to give me the plaster options that I've got. So what you're going to do now is, I just like to go into edit mode and then just drag it in, let it load up. There we go. Alright, so now that's entirely loaded up. What we can do is now we can just scale this properly, because obviously you can see it's not scaled up properly. So we're going to select the material, there's a chair, and then we're going to come over to the UV editor just up here. So come over here, 0 to go in camera mode, scroll back, select so you can see, and then as you can see, and now yes, you see that scales out a lot more.
Notice the material size changing here.
And then if you come over back to layout, you see that looks a lot better. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is you'll notice that the floor is and the room walls and the ceiling are all exactly the same material. So you want to actually change that and put it separate. So how you do that is you're just going to hit tab and stay at face select mode, select the bottom face here, come over to the material properties, plus, and assign it to a new material. And then you see if you go back here, your clay is selected for your basically your side walls and the ceiling. And then we come down here, there's nothing selected for your floor. So now we can come out of edit mode and then we can search up. I want to put wooden floors, so I'm put wooden flooring, but you can go with whatever you like. So you see I got a ton of options here, so I just gotta find something that I feel will be good in this room that I'm going for, and I actually think that's gonna be perfect. So I want to just tap to go back in edit mode and make sure you selected here. You don't want to select the wall because that would just change everything back. And then just drag this down properly. You can scale it up if you need to, but in my case everything looks perfect and it's all looking pretty good. Alright, so the next thing I want to do now is, let me just close this, to add some nice wooden strips along the sides there just to give the room a bit more character. So just out of edit mode, shift A, I'm gonna add in a cube. And now let's just scale this cube on the Z axis. Scale them up to roughly about there. Let's just scale on the Y. Scale on the Y. Alright, so let's just go in 1, G, Z. Let's just bring it up. There we go. Alright, so S and on the Y, it's generally always a lot thinner. Alright, so alright, cool. So now S and then just X, we can scale this up, bring it to the length of our room. So you'll see roughly around there is good. So the next thing I'm going to do is G and Y. Let's just scale up G, Y, we want to bring it there, and then Shift D to duplicate and bring it on the Y. And then let's just check out how this looks. Okay, so if you go into a camera view, you'll see that looks pretty good already. So we want to just shift D one more time, bring it on the Y roughly to the center. What we can do is, let's go to the top view first, and then G shift, bring it on the Y roughly to the center, and then rotate it. You want to rotate it 90 degrees. Scale it down just enough. You can stick out a bit, it doesn't really matter. G, Z, GX. And then, and check. And now, there we go. Yeah, so that just adds a bit of character to the room. So what I'm going to do next is for wood. Just let that all load up. So you want to go back into edit mode. Now we want to just find something that will roughly match the same vibe and color that we got going on. And I think this would actually be perfect here. So what I'm going to do is tap to go into edit mode. And then I'm just going to drop it in. Alright, so with that done. So next thing I want to do is just select next. And I want to just bring this down and in there and do the same thing with the first one. Alright, so now if we close this up, look at our room, everything looks nice and cool. Alright, so we can do a few more stuff here, which I actually do want to show you guys. which will just basically give this room an entirely different feel. So what I want to do is just add in a bunch of wooden cladding on here, just half of the room. So what I actually want to do is go tab to go into edit mode, right? And then I want to put a loop cut, yes. So tab to go into edit mode and control R, put a loop cut, and I want the loop cut to be somewhere there. So I want to go back to face mode, select that, and then just plus and assign that a new face. Alright, so tab to come out, and I want to just search up for brick. This will match it perfectly. Tab to go back into edit mode, select that there. There we go. Alright, so there is one thing that you guys will notice, if you can pick up. The bricks actually look flat. So they're supposed to look like they've got a bit of bump on them and stuff. And the same can be said about the floor, but you can't really notice it with the floor. But obviously with this now, you can notice it. So there is a way that you can fix this, and I'll show you how to do that. So what you can do is just come up here, and then just click on face orientation. And then you'll notice there is a bunch of red on the entire cube. And this is actually supposed to be blue. See, it's blue on the outside, but on the inside it's red. So what we gotta do is just flip that around. So you wanna hit tab to go into edit mode, and select everything, and then Control Shift N, and that'll do it. So now if we come back up here and click off that, and we tab out of edit mode, you'll notice you can see the bump now. And that's exactly what we wanted. And you can notice the floor actually looks a lot better as well. So that's what we wanted. So now what I want to do is just add in that wooden cladding that I was talking about. So what I want to do now is basically let's add in another cube.
Okay, so I'm just scaling the cube to the rough size of cladding that I want and just positioning it where I want it.
Now that we are back and we've got that exactly where we want it, I'm just come over to the modifier properties, and we can add in an array modifier. And now when we go into our camera view, let's see, we've got a nice feature wall. And so what we can do with this is we can just select all of that, and then we can actually get it to match the side wood panels that we put on the floor. We can actually go with a bit darker one, because that'll give the room a much better tone, but let's see. Yeah, I think we'll go with the dark one. So yeah, so that's all done. Alright, so now if we zoom out, you'll notice it's looking pretty good. Alright, so the next thing you need to do now is basically I'm going to add in the lighting for the scene. So what I want to do is I want to just select the ceiling. So I'm gonna just go into edit mode, select the cube first, edit mode, and I want to just select the top two faces here. I want to basically just select this, Shift D to duplicate, and then right click and stay back, and then I want to scale it down and then extrude it down just a little bit. You're really gonna notice it so much, but I want to put basically lights in the bottom here, so that's the reason why I've been doing that. Alright, so what we can do now is we can add the lights. So back into object mode, I'm going to just hit Shift A and I'm going to add in a light, and then aerial light is going to be perfect for this.
I'm just scaling and adjusting the size of the light, then positioning it under the ceiling, and then Shift D to duplicate it and R to rotate, then positioning where I want it to be.
That should roughly cover it all. So I want to just select all three other lights, G again, and go up on the Z. There. Alright, so now when we go now into our render view, we'll actually see this lighting affecting the scene. So I want to generally keep this at maybe 50 watts is generally good for a nice balanced lighting, and maybe 25 for the back here, because that's going to be highlighting the main focus group. So next thing that I want to do now is go into our render mode. Before we do that, let's just change the render engine to cycles, CPU to GPU, and we want to enable denoising, and we want to change the max samples down to, for a scene like this, 400 should be good, just for the extra details, but 400 should be perfect. So now when we go into, actually another thing that I actually want to add here is just a window that's going to be on this side, so that we can get some light into the scene. So I want you to select the camera, come back over here, and I want to just move so to move it ever so slightly. Okay, cool. So now I can hit select the cube, change going to end mode, Control R, and then just bring that look somewhere on there. Let's just see how this looks. Alright, cool. So it doesn't look bad at all. So Control R, another look at, put something there, Control R, look at in the center, Control R, there, Control R, there, and then I can just go into face select mode. It set this just a little bit. Insert this, I to insert by the way, and then shift, select these two, X, and delete them, and I'll show you why I did that now. So now when we're going to rendered view, so now I want to add in some natural lighting, and well, to do that we're going to need to be in object mode, go to the world settings, go over the color, add in a sky texture, there we go, and you'll notice automatically it's freaking bright. Like it's really bright. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is just rotate this. I'm going to just rotate this just to give us a nice bright environment, but not too much. Alright, so you're not going to see where this light is coming from, but this just gives it, the reason I did this is this just gives it an impression that, you know, you've got a door here and you've got that glass that's next to the door at the side. So that's all that does. And I'm a little concerned about this, but let's see when we render it out, it should go away. I'm not sure why that's there. Alright, anyway. And now what we basically want to do is we want to just add in all of our materials. So I am going to just put in a couch, search for that, and then now I'm just going to find one that I feel will be perfect for this scene. So in this case, I actually like the way this looks, and this looks like it'll pair up pretty well with it. So I want to just drag that in, let it load up, and let the materials and everything load up first. Okay, so once that's done loading, I can just drag another one, and then come over here, can rotate that from the Z to rotate to the Z at a -90, and that should be us here, and then G to grab it, and then G to grab it, X, can move it back a bit. And there we can do the same thing with this couch. So G to grab it, we can bring it up on the X just a little bit, and then we can grab that. G, move it on the Y just a little bit. There we go. Alright, so next thing I want to do is just drag in this lovely coffee table in here. And the thing when you're doing these kind of interior scenes, that furniture and the stuff that you choose is actually vital to making it look realistic. So the more realistic it looks depends on the furniture you've got going. The lighting is also very important. Just find something that works for the scene. Make sure it looks livable as well. So what I want to do now is just add in the TV. You're not going to see the screen, but I just want the TV in here. So I'm just going to find something that's going to match up with this vibe. Okay, so this looks pretty good. You're really going to notice it. Let's just put it in. Just let that load up. Just rotate it on the Z by 180, and then I'm just going to go in here to see how it looks, and then just G, bring it up just, and then G, Y. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty cool. And then let me just bring up this TV. You see, you aren't going to notice the TV, like the screen and stuff, so that's perfect. That's all we wanted. And rotate Z at 180 degrees and grab this G, Y, bring it back just a little bit, because obviously you don't have your TV so close to the edge. It's just not heard of. Maybe. I don't know. How do you guys have your TV positioned in your house? Do you have it mounted on the wall, or if it's on a stand? Let me know how you guys got it. Let's get a conversation going on, guys. Alright, next thing I wanna load in is just some side tables. So side table. And the thing is, when you're going for these kind of stuff, especially when you have a scene in your head, just the color of the furniture matters. Like, just make sure if you're going with like a specific couch, make sure you can find, if you want a coffee table in your scene and some other stuff, make sure you can find models and stuff when you're going the free route that actually will be able to match up with your scene. Because sometimes you can find a beautiful couch or a bed, and then you have like the hardest time finding see, these actually look pretty good. You have the hardest time finding sorry, what's this? You have the hardest time finding furniture to match it. So that's just one of the things that you'll come across. So G, rotate, and then this obviously we rotate on the Z because it's on our ground plane, and then just by 90, nope, rotate Z minus 90. There we go, and we can scale this down on the Z axis just a little bit. This side matches up with the couch, G, put that back. Actually, we can bring it just roughly around there. Actually, yeah, let's bring this a bit front. I'm gonna put a plant in the back there. So that side is looking a bit lonely. That's that one there. Just like that, rotate. And then, because that couch is obviously there, rotating the Z, 180 will do good. Let's just go in and see how this looks. Looks pretty good. G, Y, just move this up just a little bit. And next thing that I want to do is maybe just getting a nice plant. Plants elevate the room, guys. They make it feel more natural, obviously. But seriously though, they do give the room a much more natural feel. I'll show you. Okay, let the color come on. Okay, so now if I grab another one of this, I'm actually just going to place it here and then I'll put it behind. G, X. Right, you'll see that makes a difference there. Right, and then you just can have maybe one of this somewhere there, going with the same gray tone that we've got. And then I want to add some art on the wall here, because that's another thing that actually adds to the whole element. So if you guys want stuff to look modern, you're gonna have to go with more plain and dull colors, like gray, white, black. Well, not so much black, but gray and white, and maybe like light matte brown colors. That definitely helps. But and also when you go with those, you want to just have like art, and not funky art like this. You want something weird like this. Yeah. So something weird like this actually just adds a whole new fresh experience to the room. So you'll see, that just changes everything right there. So the next thing that I want to do now is just get in let's just put in a ceiling light. Okay, so this looks pretty cool to me. I think that's definitely gonna work for what we got going here. Alright, so now that we've got that done, we can add in a few smaller finishing touches, more lived in, so we can add in some books. And a stack of books is always good. Let's just add a stack there. You'll see, it just makes a world of difference. Let's let that load up its colors and stuff. There we go. And then we'll search out like coffee. Well, we got coffee. I want a cup of coffee. You see, we got a lovely cup of coffee there. Alright, so now the next thing we can do is just add in like clock. And something simple like this just completely adds to the modern feel of the room. And then once you have the wooden clock right over here, you just want to just rotate it just just a little bit on the Z, and then just scale it up. Clock. And then we can just add a bunch of smaller stuff around the room if you want to, but for me this design works perfectly. And then what I want to do now is just add in a finishing touch, which is a beautiful rug, and that'll do it for this video. And here we go. I actually love the way this looks. This is actually going to be perfect right there. And then we just wait for that to load up. And once it's done,
Gosh, I don't know how I didn't notice the other table till I did the render.
then basically once it's done loading, guys, you can go ahead and hit that render button and wait for your beautiful piece of art. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please guys drop a like, subscribe, share this with someone that you know would find it helpful, and let me know in the comment what your favorite part of the video is, and also what you guys would like to see me do next.
So goodbye for us. You have to say it, baby. And us in Texas, you wanna try, baby.